Hello and welcome to this very special edition of Traffic Paradise Radio. I have no graphics for you today, I have no intro music, I have no co-hosts, but I do have something massive for you. Christian Horner has been fired from Red Bull Racing with immediate effect. Visa Cash App RB's Laurent Mekies has been promoted to take over the position from Christian Horner. So VCARB are losing their TP, Red Bull are losing their TP, and there is a switch going on, like Red Bull has done many times before, switching someone from the junior team to the senior team, but this time it is not a driver. Everyone speculated that Yuki Tsunoda would be the next one to go. Well, guess what? Christian Horner is gone. What does this mean for Red Bull? What does this mean for the team? What does this mean for Max Verstappen? And personally, most importantly for me, what does this mean for Yuki Tsunoda? Okay? We know, and we have spoken at length on this channel about how we do not think that Christian Horner is the right guy for the job at Red Bull. We have a video which I will link somehow. I'm not quite sure how I do that, but I will link a video either at the end of this or right now if I can. If there's nothing there, whoops, I didn't figure it out, but check at the end of the video. I'll try my best. I know I can link something there. We made a video at the end of last year speaking about how Christian Horner had to leave Red Bull because he has been a problem there, certainly over the last 2 years, but there have been many instances throughout his time at Red Bull that have been problematic. And it all came to a head after allegations surfaced of him sexually harassing an employee and engaging in an affair with her. You know, as someone who grew up loving the Spice Girls, I'm quite offended that he would cheat on a Spice Girl. But there's more importantly, it spoke to his character and why he was just the wrong guy to be leading a team like that. As Formula One moves into the modern era, you know, there has been an increased focus on getting women into the sport, both on track and in the garage and in management and leadership positions. And having someone like Christian Horner, who is a sex pest, running the most successful team at the moment, was a massive problem. Obviously, Red Bull is no longer the most successful team. McLaren is now. Red Bull has had a tremendous drop-off over the last 2 years. They have lost so many members of their leadership and so many people who were responsible for bringing them major results. They have churned through drivers. Obviously, their number one driver has remained consistent, but over the last few years, they have had, I think it's 6 drivers in that second car. Hell, in the last 6 months, they've had, well, not 6 months, in the last 8 months, they've had 3 different drivers in that car, in that second seat. And it really just shows that instability at Red Bull. We know that people have left, for example, gone to Sauber, and we saw how amazing that turned out for Sauber. Adrian Newey has gone to, sorry, that was Jonathan Wheatley, who went to Sauber, and just this weekend, Sauber got their first podium in, I think, 13 years or something like that. Adrian Newey has gone to Aston Martin, and Aston Martin are looking set to have a very successful year next year. We've seen talent leaving Red Bull in terms of drivers. Alex Albon and Pierre Gasly are notable names who have left Red Bull, who have left that second seat and gone on to do great things for their teams. Pierre Gasly last year, obviously, at Alpine. This year, Alpine's not as good, but he's still shone above that sort of problematic team. He's still shown that he can put in good performances. Alex Albon has really been, for me, the driver of the season of the midfield, he has excelled beyond what anyone thought he could do. And it just shows that the problem was never the second driver. The problem was always the way that Red Bull was managed. And that comes down to Christian Horner. Drivers have been talking about the problematic car for years. And every time they spoke up about it, Christian Horner would say, no, it's not you. It's not the car, it's you. And he said something very similar, I think 2 weekends ago. He said the car's not that difficult to drive, in reference to Yuki Tsunoda. Meanwhile, Max is on the radio at every race saying how difficult the car is to drive. Now, if Max Verstappen is struggling, and we saw him struggle big time this weekend. I mean, I saw a stat that was crazy that Nico Hülkenberg has outscored Max Verstappen over the last, I think it's 3 or 4 Grand Prix. Now, granted, Max did have a DNF in that time period, but still, there's no way a Sauber should be outscoring a Red Bull, not even at one race, let alone over 3 or 4 races. So, yeah, major problems at that team for a very long time, and I'm very glad that the guys with actual power at Red Bull have taken a stand and said enough is enough. Laurent Mekies, I think, he did a fantastic job at Visa Cash App RB. He's been there 18 months and has transformed that team into a real contender in the midfield. And there obviously were moments when the team was Toro Rosso and AlphaTauri, where they were, a good midfield team. But they did struggle towards the end, and there were some struggles even last year. But I think Laurent Mekies put together a good team there. With Peter Bayer and Alain Permain, they really, first of all, they listened to Yuki. Okay, that to me is super important. And to Daniel as well, to Daniel Ricciardo, they listened to him, and they built a much better car this year. They made a car that was capable of fighting up at the top, and we've seen that with Yuki in the first 2 races of the season before he transferred to Red Bull. We've seen it with Isaac Hadjar, definitely the star rookie of the season, outshining even Antonelli at times. And we've seen it also with Liam Lawson. Liam Lawson had a terrible start to the season. He was languishing down in last place, similar to what Yuki's doing now. But after moving to VCARB and getting a few races to settle back in, he's performing amazingly well again. Yeah, it didn't have a great weekend. The team didn't have a great weekend in England, but, it was a rain race. There were lots of issues. Not all of it was in their control, so we'll forgive them that. But yeah, Liam's put in some good performances. Isaac's put in good performances. Yuki's put in good performances. Daniel put in good performances. And I feel like Laurent Mekies also knows how to support his drivers. He is a caring team principal. He cares about his drivers. He will back them to the hilt, and in a way that's very different to Christian Horner. This is the way I see it. You will see Christian Horner say something to the media, okay? And people say, oh, look, he's supporting his drivers. But with Laurent Mekies, you will see him actually going to his drivers, having very sort of caring moments with them. I didn't want to say intimate because that just sounds wrong, but you'll see him and he'll have his arm around their shoulder and he'll be talking to them and giving them positivity, which is what a driver needs often. We look at drivers who get into a bad headspace and it completely messes with their performance, and that's what we're seeing right now with Yuki. Yuki Tsunoda is one of the most resilient drivers on the grid, and it's not showing right now because he's in this toxic environment. And yeah, hands up, I wanted him to go to Red Bull. I was very much Yuki to Red Bull, but it was maybe not the greatest idea. And hopefully now there will be a turnaround because, yeah, This is great for Yuki Tsunoda. Laurent Mekies really rates Yuki Tsunoda highly. I was just thinking today about all the people at Red Bull who actually think Yuki's a good driver. Horner's not one of them. He'll very rarely say anything positive about Yuki that's not just sort of paying lip service. But if you look at Laurent Mekies, Franz Tost, even Helmut Marko, they all consistently say Yuki is a fast driver, and they're now starting to, especially the Red Bull side of things, are starting to acknowledge that his feedback is really helpful when it comes to his technical feedback is really helpful when it comes to improving the car. Now, I imagine that no one's been listening to Yuki, or at least they've not been implementing his suggestions. I would imagine that there are many mechanics and engineers at Red Bull who do listen to Yuki, but are told, no, we're going to do this instead. And the thing is, that might have worked for a while when Max was happy with the car, but Max is no longer happy with the car. So you got to listen to both drivers now if you want to bring home the points, if you want to bring home the championships, because there was a time where Max could do it by himself, but that time is no longer here. And we've seen that McLaren and Ferrari and Mercedes are all doing better than Red Bull this season. And I mean, that's something, because Ferrari's not having a great season. They've got one podium this whole season. And still, like, Red Bull look worse than Ferrari. So, yeah, definitely there is going to be a mindset change at Red Bull. Christian Horner has had an iron grip on that team for 2 decades. And there are going to be very entrenched ways of doing things that Laurent Mekies is going to have to come in and change. But he did that at Visa Cash App RB, and he did it very successfully. The whole ethos of that team changed from AlphaTauri to Visa Cash App, and it's just like to Visa Cash App, and it's been an amazing transformation. The positivity at that team, their social media game has obviously been great, and that's something that I feel like Red Bull is not brilliant at, so maybe that's something they can work on. They have been trying with Yuki, but it's not nearly as good as their sister team. And so, I think Laurent Mekies will inject some new life into the team. And this is where I start thinking it's a good thing for Yuki, particularly. I don't know how Max is going to respond to this. There are rumors that this was very much being pushed for from the Verstappen camp, in which case I would imagine Red Bull did this to keep Max there. So let's imagine that Max does stay. Okay, so Red Bull have their first number 1 driver, Max Verstappen. They're going into a new regulation change. They have to focus their energy on next year. So how do they go about doing that? Well, first thing, as Max has been saying, they got to fix the car. Max has consistently said it's not Checo, it's not Liam, it's not Yuki. I think he said Yuki is not a pancake, which apparently is a Dutch idiom for saying he's not an idiot. Okay, so Max has basically gone on record multiple times saying it is not the second driver that's the problem, it's the car. And no one wanted to listen to him because he's able to outdrive those problems. I imagine they thought he was being a bit of a drama queen. Things went 100% perfect, and so he'd complain. But I think actually things were like 75, 65% perfect, and Max just was able to outdrive those imperfections. And so, yeah, there's been this like weird sort of, it's almost like, when you say, no, no one wanted to listen. No one wanted to listen. And now you have a chance to actually listen for once. As I said already, Laurent values Yuki's feedback. So I imagine Yuki's voice is going to be a lot louder now, or at least it's going to be heard now. And I would imagine that will contribute more to the car, more to improving that car, which is their number 1 priority. And so I believe that they will stick with their driver pairing now. Because, as I said, like, if the problem isn't the car, if the problem isn't the team principal, they would have fired Yuki Tsunoda. But they haven't done that. They've fired the team principal. They've fired Christian Horner. Christian Horner, who, and there's as I said, I'll link the video, but there are multiple things he has done that are problematic just in the last year. Okay, so because he didn't listen to feedback from Checo, and as the team principal, as the manager of the team, yeah, there's lots of people working on it, but you're the ultimate voice of authority there. And if someone's speaking up and you ignore them, okay, that's a big problem. So that's the number one thing, and that cost them the Constructors' Championship last year. Okay, the issue with the sexual harassment and affair cost Red Bull in terms of I would imagine a few sponsors left or were a bit hesitant to stay at the very least, and also I think it did lead to a bit of a brain drain. I think people like Adrian Newey, Jonathan Wheatley, they said, we don't want to be a part of this, and they left. Okay, so that's their institutional knowledge and the power that they had in their garage was taken out. So now we look at what else did it cost Red Bull to keep Horner on. Well, Checo Perez, they had to pay a pretty penny, first of all, to sign his contract, which, if Christian Horner and Red Bull were seriously having doubts about Checo's performance, why they gave him a new contract like a few months into the new season is beyond me. But they did, okay? So I've on record on this channel saying I don't believe Checo was the problem and that I didn't believe Checo should have been fired, okay? But I also said that if Checo was fired, Yuki should get the seat, okay? That was just my feeling about it. And you might disagree with that. You might think, nah, bro, it should have been Liam this whole time, or no, they should have gone for Carlos Sainz, or whatever. Like, whatever your opinion is, you're probably right, okay? Every option other than the way they went was the correct option, okay? If you were going to get rid of Checo, you needed to replace him with someone who you were going to listen to, okay? Liam Lawson was like, I can't drive this car. This car is bad. They were like, no, bro, you're the problem. Out. Yuki Tsunoda comes in with no practice, no time in the car at all, and they just expect him to perform. And then he can't perform. Why? It's not Yuki. Yuki's not the problem. Yuki has shown consistently that he's fast, that he can qualify well. Yuki was the best midfield qualifier last season. Best out of all of them, okay? And yet, you wouldn't know that by watching him this year. Yuki can take a car that finished P8 in the championship and he can put it into Q3 consistently, okay? He can put that car into P3 on the grid, okay? So it's not Yuki's qualifying that's the problem, but at Red Bull, he can't qualify. So it's the car, you know? And I think this is, again, going back to what I was saying, like, this is what Horner has cost the team, because they didn't listen to Checo, but they gave him a new contract, and then they had to buy him out of that contract. Then they put Liam in, and then they had to get rid of Liam. Then they had to go begging to Honda to fund Yuki Tsunoda's transfer, because actually, like, Horner's gone and, like, fucked up their finances, okay? I'm not kidding when I say Christian Horner has cost Red Bull tens of millions of dollars over the last, like, 24 months. Not even kidding. The drop in money from championship winnings, this is now 2 years in a row that they're losing out on. The money they had to fork over for Christian Horner. Whatever is going to happen now, because the courts in the UK are going to be handling this this matter with Christian Horner and the sexual harassment and affair. There might be big payouts for that. Who knows what's going to happen there. He's lost them so much. And I would also say that like they've lost a lot of their brand power. You know, Checo was a huge part of their income at Red Bull. He brought in a lot of money. And losing Checo lost Red Bull a lot of that money. So yeah, Honda was able to step up and sort of level that out a little bit. But Honda's gone at the end of the year. You know, as much as they couldn't wait for Honda to be gone, look who ended up saving your ass, guys. So maybe like show a bit more respect to the team, to the company that's given you the engines that have enabled you to win championships. You know, just a thought. But anyway, yeah. So Red Bull is finally had enough, and they have decided that the time is ripe to make a change. And I would say it's at least 18 months too late, but hopefully it's not too late. Because, yeah, I want Red Bull to perform well. They've never been my favorite team, but I am a Honda fan and I am a Yuki fan. And I will drink Red Bulls. I will buy Red Bulls as long as Yuki is on that team. And although Honda might be leaving them, if Yuki stays, I will remain a Red Bull supporter. So from a personal level, like I'm happy that I can feel proud about this team again. That I don't have to kind of be like, oh, well, actually, like I support Red Bull. Because it's so awkward to say that. When you've got people like Jos Verstappen, Helmut Marko, and Christian Horner as like main sort of figures within your team, it's just awkward. And to have someone, at least Helmut Marko's old, there have been rumors that he's already talking with Sebastian Vettel to kind of take over his role. Jos Verstappen is Jos Verstappen. He's kind of attached to Max. There's nothing you can do about it. But at least Horner's gone, you know, and Laurent Mekies is a far better candidate to take over from him. So I know I've rambled a lot. This was completely unscripted. I've probably forgotten to say things, and I've probably repeated things as well. I apologize for that. But I just wanted to get on and talk about this because this is a major, major, major story. This is going to rock the world of Formula One. And I saw someone saying that he should go to Ferrari. Please, God, don't do that. Like, first of all, put some respect on Fred Vasseur, okay? They might not be doing great right now, but he is a much better team principal than Christian Horner. And, like, Ferrari fans have suffered enough. They don't need Christian Horner and his, like, dodginess infiltrating their team. Listen to Lewis. Lewis backs Fred. Listen to Fred. Like, just stay the course. If things go wrong at the end, by the end of next season, by all means, like, make the change. But, like, not now. And not for Christian Horner. That's shocking. Please no. So, yeah. This is my... Gosh, we're already on 23 minutes. So I'm going to say goodnight and goodbye. And happy Christian Horner was fired day to all who celebrate. It is truly a wonderful, wonderful day. So from me and from everyone at Traffic Paradise Radio, thank you so much for tuning in. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you're new, and leave us a comment down below. What do you think about this? Do you think this is going to be a positive thing for Red Bull? What do you think is going to happen to Max Verstappen, to Yuki Tsunoda? What do you think is going to happen at Visa Cash App RB with Laurent Mekies leaving? And ultimately, how does this affect the team going forward? So let us know down below. And yeah, you can follow us on Twitter at Traffic Paradiso. You can also chat to us on Discord. All that information I'll link below. And yeah, usually we say something about a traffic jam, but let's just say the traffic jam at Red Bull is finally cleared. They've gotten rid of a decaying piece of roadkill in the middle of the road, and we're all free to move along now to better days. So thank you so much for tuning in, and have a good rest of your day or night. Bye-bye.